she looked at me and she goes, you need to be a model. And I'm like, I'm like rolling around in horse shit. Like, that's cute. But then, oh shit, I'm shooting Sports Illustrated tomorrow.
What are the odds of that?
Oh God, what a coinkydink.
People don't know how to sell themselves.
Perfect.
Clip it right there. 'cause
They don't know how to take photos of themselves.
everybody's our competitor, but also our friend.
You should do this with your app, classes for people. I think these people need this.
Some good clips here.
Mate, she's a fucking wealth of knowledge.
It's not about followers. Definitely not anymore. They've done all the research in the world. What are you doing? Are you cheating on me because you're being so nice? Like, what is wrong with you? You're weird.
I just love you. Like,
yeah.
You guys are so similar. It's scary. Welcome back to the First Rounds on Me podcast, brought to you by the dating app that connects you from screen to scene. First Rounds on Me. I'm Joe Feminella with my beautiful wife, Hannah, and we're having today's conversation with...
Today, my darling, we have the one and only Georgina Burke joining us. Gio is an internationally celebrated model who has worked with a plethora of major fashion brands and magazines over the year. She is also owner of BURKE NYC and was a Sports Illustrated Swimsuit rookie in 2022. Gio is the epitome of a badass role model for women worldwide, and funnily enough, we hail from the same hometown in Australia, and so we're extra thrilled to have her on the pod today. We'll get our honest thoughts about the fashion and modeling industries as a whole, discuss BURKE NYC and her experiences with SI Swim, hear her opinions and get her advice on all things dating, and talk about the relationship she has with herself and her partner. Gio, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Also, I just realized we've had my hometown on the podcast today, and now your hometown. What are the odds of that?
God, what a coinkydink.
Coinky-dink.
Coinkydink. Have you ever heard that expression?
Yeah, but it's, I think, a lame expression, but sure.
Rude. Shots
Already
fired.
fighting.
Shots
God,
fired
okay.
so early in the podcast. Thank you for that, darling. Yeah, we were just saying we haven't seen each other in over a decade.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy that we haven't.
Back in those days in Seattle, right?
I was about to say Nordstrom. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Is that where you guys
They
connected?
were great days.
That's when we
In
met.
Seattle?
When we used to both, she would fly from New York, I'd fly from LA, and we'd do the Nordstrom days, and they were such
They
as
were
far as
great
e-commerce
clients.
goes, they were one of the best, if not the best clients to have.
Absolutely.
And I think the environment of which they created, like I've been in a couple of other not fast fashion brands, but e-commerce brands.
Yeah.
And it was an absolute
not the same.
hell to work with, and they just created this beautiful environment, in particular around with the models as well. It was really lovely. It was like
It was a
family.
community.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
There's a lot of Australian models, right? I feel like Australia produces a lot of models.
I'd say that there was
Beautiful people.
this grow is fucking
You guys are just so
beautiful down there.
tall.
We all just have bleached, really bad, damaged hair. But yeah, we're all...
That's honestly, one of the things that we'll talk about it actually soon. But one of the things that because I quit modeling, I finished.
wow,
I
okay.
I think it was last year where I was like, okay, I just can't do this anymore. Like I'm 15, 16 years of doing it. And I was like, all right. But my hair has grown back and is so thick
So I have
and
something to look forward
healthy.
to.
You really do. It's on the horizon, darling. All right, I want to dive straight into it because for people who want to kind of know more of a background, please research Georgina. But I want to dive into an interview with Stella magazine that you did, which was a large chunk of it was talking about your recent campaign with Sea Folly. And the piece started with Georgina's size at the descriptions used to describe her body. For 13 years, she's been positioned as plus size, although for a while companies dabbled with curve, which you find equally as dispiriting. And you said in quotes, I've been called every other bigger term in the thesaurus, and for me, it doesn't have to be such a negative connotation. But it would be really nice to just be called a model. So speaking on that, how has your journey of advocacy for diversity within modeling kind of started, and where do you think it is today?
Well, I think, and I'm sure you've witnessed it firsthand, you've been in the industry, I think, longer than I have. And I just think terminology for anybody, whether it's age, race, or size, it's negative. You're putting somebody in a box because of who they are. It's not just you know what, Hannah's gorgeous. I want her to be on the cover of whatever it is. So it just brings negativity before you've even walked in the door because you've got to tick that box. And a lot of castings and a lot of the industry, when I show up, I'm also 6'1". They're like, you're not plus size enough. You're not big enough. You're not this. And it's well, I am. Try the clothes on me. You'll see. It's just, I don't want girls to look at me and be like, oh my God, if she's plus size, what does that make me? It's just a full circle, and I just don't think it's needed. You don't want to be called a mature age model when you're 40? It's things like that it doesn't work.
No, dude, 100%. I think that there is, and I think I mean, both you and I can speak to this. We've seen the fashion industry evolve in that regard, right? Like when I first started in Paris, it was in Paris, and like even they were like, you're not thin enough. Yeah. And as you said, you're just put into these boxes of what's going on. So what do you think that the industry could do, kind of to shift that terminology to be more inclusive and to kind of get rid of those boxes that we exist within?
Absolutely. I think it goes both ways. Like you as a straight size or model, me as a model, it's like I think they are more now looking for the girl and they don't just want a model. I think they want you to have personality. They want you to be more than. And I think that's what's exciting because when you go to these castings, those women stand out. As a creative director for the last 2 years, and it really showed when I was sent those casting packages, just the ones that are modeling and the ones that are being an entrepreneur, working with your husband, like all of these things, like you really stood out more, especially on your Instagram and all of those things, because that's where clients are mainly looking. So I just think they need to look past it and book who they think is right for the brand, because it shows every time. It's not about followers. Definitely not anymore. They've done all the research in the world. It doesn't help cutting heads off. This sounds terrible.
No.
It doesn't help like shooting from the neck down, like all of those things. Like people buy clothing because they see themselves in that person. Like, you know what? She looks beautiful. I want to dress like her. It needs to be enticing.
100%.
And I think that's the way the industry is going back to. And I love that it's still diverse and all of those things. But I just think it needs to be more about the person and what they bring to the table as a whole. And that's where
I couldn't agree more. And I think it's almost like the industry is starting, I think, to humanize models, which is a really beautiful thing, because for the longest time we were just one in a
it was a lineup.
In a lineup, in a legitimate lineup. And as the person, it is incredibly dehumanizing, but you've seen this uptick in this trending kind of nature of the industry going, we care about the person as a whole versus like what they can just bring to this one photo shoot. And a lot of the times people are getting booked for multiple campaigns, multiple shoots that they truly represent the brand. And it's I think it's just such a beautiful step forward.
Does that lead to being more of the face of a company? Because I would assume owning a brand, you're like, I want the face of my company to have personality. Whereas if you just get a straight model, it's just their looks and you don't know if they could be the face of a brand.
Yeah,
but I feel like the face of a brand needs a personality.
I do too. 100%. It's like Sea Folly. I grew up in Brisbane. I'm sure you wore did you ever shoot Sea Folly?
I never shot for them, but I wore them, man. You know what I mean? Like that was a quintessential Australian brand.
100%. So it's like those things is like a nice marriage to go together. And I think that's what brands are seeing. It shows in the photos as well. So I think it's like a full circle for them.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. All right. So I know from personal experience that and we were just talking about this, that the toll that modeling can take on every kind of interview, but your body in particular is absolutely wild. And I think it actually isn't known, like from misformed feet and like missing fucking toenails to hair being pulled out or like falling out in chunks. So like what?
Absolutely.
Can you speak to perhaps the toll that modeling has taken on your body?
I think the hardest thing is mental health. I was deemed plus size from the day I landed from Australia when I was 21. Straight out of Brisbane, like living with my parents, came over here. I was very young-minded. Like my mom made my bed. Never wrote a check. Oh, good. Lucky you. Never wrote a check, like all of those things. So I think I got here and I was with a terrible crowd of people, and you are a product of your environment. So it's all of those things. And then when you have agents being like, the more weight you are, the more money you make. So I'm sure it was like you, but in reverse. Like it's such a can I swear on him?
Oh, of course.
It's such a mind fuck that it's like you trying so hard to fit in these boxes or these bubbles and make friends who aren't friends. And it was just so toxic for me. And it's only in the last few years that I've really felt grounded. I have the most incredible agents behind me and in Australia as well that see me for who I am. I'm not trying to be small. I'm not trying to be big. I'm just living, and that's what's been the most important thing. I was on contracts where I had to stay a certain size. I was literally eating Chinese food and drinking red wine on the plane to be like, I'll get bloated by tomorrow. I'll be puffy as fuck tomorrow.
Really?
Like, it was so bad. So think about that. Not only is it not good for your skin to go out and in, like those things, it's not good on your heart. It's not good for your health. Like I also have Crohn's disease. So I have
colitis.
Oh, it was so similar kind of things. Friends. Like diet is friends. So it all goes hand in hand. Like when you're mentally not right, you're eating shit, you're drinking, and you're not taking yourself, and you're also on planes every day, and they're trying to jam your size 11 foot in a size 9, your body, your skin shows, your hair breaks. Like there's so many things that go into it.
Dude, I think that's so interesting. And even I, as like a straight size model, like just as a model, never really thought about that spectrum of it, because we are like, for the longest time, I was always told to keep under a certain weight, but then you were told to keep over a certain weight. And the toll either end of the spectrum takes on your body is absolutely ridiculous.
No, it's horrific.
What kind of strategies do you use in saying all of that to keep your mental health and your mental sanity at like a nice equilibrium?
It's meeting up with nice people when they come to town.
You just met me. You don't know if I'm nice yet.
I think kind of that's good judgment.
I'm married.
I trust it. Yeah, she married you. I think I have an amazing partner. He definitely helps. I have I'm a bit like you. I have a very small network, and I have the best friends and the best parents. And I think that really matters. Like I said earlier, you're a product of your environment. And I was in a really toxic relationship prior to this, and that damaged my work. That damaged my mental health. That damaged my stomach, like in every sense. So I think it's really important to have a great team, good management behind you, and the rest is story, is like history, whatever that saying is.
Whatever that saying is.
I couldn't even imagine. I love that, because as an outsider, if you wanted to work out one day because you're like, I just want to work out today and it feels good, you couldn't, because it's like, oh, well, then I'll look too good for the shoot tomorrow. Like 100%. I'll look too skinny.
It was so painful. I used to train at a gym, and it's where all the VS girls would go, and they were busting ass. Some of them not so much, but a lot of them were working their asses off. And it was hard because I would go in there and I'd bust my ass too. And then my clients would be like, you look really great, but, and I'd be like, there should be no but. If I'm looking better than I did the last time you saw me, that's what should matter. Like if my skin's glowing and I look healthy, let's roll.
And isn't it counterproductive? Because they want you to be able to represent for a broader audience, I assume.
100%.
But then they're saying, but not too broad of an audience. We just want you to go to this specific audience, which to me sounds
how crazy does that?
Ironic.
Even saying that out loud.
Right? Like even saying it sounds confusing to me. I'm like, wait, so they want you to reach non-skinny people, but then if you're just yourself, that's too much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why now I'm excited by my management, because I get to just do me. I do fluctuate. It's part of Crohn's. I'm on this new med, so it takes away your inflammation. So you definitely depuff and like all those good things. But it's hard, like especially with this Ozempic crisis that's going on. But I'm like, everyone do what you need to do for your health. If that helps you, do it. I don't care. But I just think we all just need to take care of ourselves, and that's what's most important, and stop projecting on other people.
Was the gym dog pound?
Yes.
Do you know that?
I know what dog pound is, yeah.
When I used to live in the West Village, I would walk by Dog Pound to go to Flywheel, and I saw all the VS girls, and I walked in one day, and I was like, oh, how much is the membership? And they were like, I don't know, like $500 a month. And I was like, damn, all right.
But they were the best. They whipped your ass. Like they were so good. And some girls were there to be seen, and some girls were there to work out, and it was a great environment.
I love that. I want to speak on a little bit of like the competition within modeling, right? Because I've explained this to Joe a couple of times, of the fact that like I know a lot of models, but also in the same sense, we were never colleagues. We were competition with each other.
100%.
So can you kind of speak to perhaps like the negative culture that sometimes brewed up because we never have colleagues and we are only ever competition?
I think as a whole, even amongst models, makeup artists, all of that, you all think you're friends. And it sounds sad, but I thought a lot of these people were my friends. And you're kind of friends till 5. The minute you leave set, you're like, see you maybe on the next job or not.
Or never again.
Never again. So I think I thought I had a lot of mates when I came over here, and I realized I didn't. So sad saying that. But in reality, with other models, there is competition, and it sucks. Like I've been guilty of it. I've definitely been green and jealous of other models getting things. But now that I realize it's good if they get it, because that means I could possibly get it. Like they're breaking barriers for all of us. But I do think that it's not even necessarily competition anymore. I think what's hard is keeping up with people that are chasing fame or going about that the wrong way or dating somebody to get a leg ahead or those kinds of things. I think that's what's hard in our industry, because I want to just get a job because I'm a hard worker.
Because it's not based on merit, almost, in a way. And I think that I agree. That was always the thing that kind of stung me a little bit. It was more like, even though it has been kind of disproven, the whole like follower thing, and that doesn't really, it's not really counted towards like your actual skill. But it was so frustrating when you go for these jobs and you would get someone else would get picked because they were dating this person or because they had 1 million followers or something like that. And it wasn't based on skill. It wasn't based on merit. And that's where the true frustration came in, not this kind of like petty competition, almost that the industry pits you against each other. Yeah, I would agree with that.
But it seems like you guys are very aligned with that, because when I first met Hannah, as I did, I Googled her. I was like, oh, I'm going out with a model. This is pretty cool.
Please fucking don't.
And I saw when she was younger, she was on all these like top Australian lists.
Yeah.
And I saw she was like
She was number one.
Well,
in my eyes, she was number one. And when I arrived here, you're on a billboard in the middle of Times Square.
I was.
We'll never
well, the
forget.
list that I saw had her at number 3.
Oh, okay.
And Miranda Kerr was like number 7. So I asked her, I was like, not what happened, but why is Miranda Kerr? And like, why are you just, not a celebrity model?
Yeah.
And she kind of explained what you explained. She was like, I could have if I slept my way to the top, or I kind of did some shady stuff, but I just wanted to be a model. Like, I didn't care about anything else.
I just wanted to earn money and be good at my job. And at the end of the day, as long as I did that, then I was happy. Everything else was like extra. Also, at the same time, I never imagined in my wildest fucking dreams that I'd be scouted or that I'd be on a billboard in Times Square. You know what I mean? Like when you come from, and I can only speak for myself, but when you come from Brisbane, where I grew up on the south side of Brisbane and I went to Runcorn High, where it was just like, that was not a possibility.
No.
That was not a reality for every person within my life. And then all of a sudden, all of these doors were opening and I was modeling Chanel in Paris and I was in fucking billboard in Times Square. It was just so surreal, to the point I was just so grateful for the ability to travel the world and to live life in this like fantastical way that I never thought would be a possibility.
How did you get scouted?
Were you who was your agency?
Vivian's.
Oh, Vivian's. Okay, interesting. I was scouted. So I went to, a friend was walking in a fashion show in Brisbane, like one of those little
Like
pop-ups.
Brisbane Fashion Week? Or
No, like one of those little pop-ups in town, like in the city.
little mall competitions.
Yes. And I went to support her, and one of the agents from June Daly Watkins was there, and she looked at me and she goes, "You need to be a model." And I'm like, I'm like rolling around in horse shit. Like, that's cute, but thanks. And then I told my mom, and she called her friend, and they were like, no, you should go in. So I went in the next day, and they were like, okay, great, sign me. And then I got an agency in Sydney, and I basically moved overseas because there was no bigger modeling in Australia back then. Like, it's still rare now. But so I basically left Australia when I was 20 and never went back. I'm still here.
Oh, you guys are so aligned.
Living the dream we didn't think was possible, or I didn't dream to be a model.
Never once in my entire life. Always dreamt of becoming a teacher. That was like the North Star. And then all of a sudden you're out here. But it's like, it's very surreal. But I think, and I think that's why we were so successful, is because you didn't have that mentality of like fame, or you didn't have that mentality of like, I don't know even know what the word is, but it wasn't like, you're not rushing to get somewhere. You're just kind of grateful for every single step that you take. 100%. And then I think that translates to a lot of clients. Like, you had so many repeat clients within your life, correct?
So fortunate, yeah.
And
absolutely.
that I think is very true of a lot of Australian models in a weird regard, because of our work ethic, because of our attitudes, and also just because of the fact that we rock up and set being like, all right, we're fucking here, let's go.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. All right, so I want to get your advice on a couple of things for perhaps new models entering the industry. So how do you think that they can, what's actually the best advice that you give to somebody who wants to start out in modeling and doesn't really know where to start?
First of all, look at yourself and say you're going to do it. Don't let anybody hold you back, whether that's your mom, your dad, your boyfriend, whatever you're doing. Like, literally go after it. If you think you've got it or you want to try it, give it a go. There is nothing wrong with trying something that your friends think stupid, or you're from Runcorn and you're like, how am I going to do this? Like, it'll happen if it's meant to happen, but it does take work. I don't want everyone to think it's like, oh, this glamorous lifestyle. Like, it definitely takes somebody that's willing, A, to give up family, B, give up college, university, all those other things. And it will take you on a roller coaster, but we're sitting here and it's kind of worth it.
Fuck yeah.
But you've kind of just got to like grab it by the horns and go.
I couldn't agree more. But like, and to emphasize that, it is not easy. It is not an easy industry. There are some really joyful moments, and there are some very glamorous moments.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. It's gorgeous. But 80% of the time, it is like you're head down, ass up, and you're working so hard every day just to be able to kind of like make your mark that little bit more. What do you think your biggest achievement in your career has been so far?
I think shooting for Sports Illustrated would definitely be a career highlight. Shooting for Ralph Lauren, shooting for brands that a person on the street would know the name of. Like, to me, that's kind of cool, being like, oh, I shot for Ralph, I did Sports Illustrated. Like, those things to me are career highlights because it's hard to get in there, especially at my size. And that still sounds so dumb to say that out loud, but it is like exciting to be in those big circles.
Heck yeah. Well, that leads you to you.
Yeah. Good segue. Great segue. So as someone who loves sports, and right on cue what you said, like the models I associated with my knowledge of were Victoria's Secret models or Sports Illustrated models, not runway models. What was doing Sports Illustrated like? Was that the dream job? And what was the experience like before and after?
It was incredible. I casted a year before I actually got put in the magazine. And that's a whole story in itself. I went to the it was a horrific start because of my prior partner going to that casting. Like, I was not okay going to that casting, and I showed up, and MJ is the most incredible woman. Have you met her?
No, I haven't.
Okay, she's
MJ?
like, she runs sports. She's like the
creative
big
director,
boss,
yeah.
creative director, like be all end all of Sports Illustrated. And I met with her and I was like, oh my God, that's so exciting. And there's like all the girls waiting in the lobby. And I think I took the longest time because I was like, I got her. I'm going to stay here a little minute. And that, I think, was just the biggest opportunity. Like, flying into Barbados was the first one. And then I got invited back and I got to shoot again in Puerto Rico. So not only doing it once, but getting to do it twice. And just doing it on my own merit and being a model and getting in that magazine was just, epic.
What years were these?
2022 and 2023.
Oh, so recently.
Just recent, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Super cool.
So
and being with
exciting.
all those girls, like, it was so fun, and meeting everyone and all of that.
What
pretty
wasn't there a year they just did like I don't know if it's like a throwback year or past?
Yeah, it was
swimsuit
just
people?
their 60th anniversary.
Was that part of it or separate?
Separate. That was the year after. I wasn't in that one.
Oh, that's cool. What were there any athletes, female athletes? Are they part of it or just models?
Yeah, no, I was trying to remember. I think there was a few basketball players in my issue. They always, like, footballers, like, they always change it up. So
Very cool.
cool to
How
be a
did you
part of
find out? What was the moment they told you that you were going to do
I
that?
was actually stuck in Montana. This was during COVID, and that's when you had to get like 6 nose swabs to fly somewhere. And I was in Montana. It was Thanksgiving, and they're like, get from Montana to New York. I packed my stuff, got to New York, and was on the morning flight to Barbados. It just happened quick, which was also good because I couldn't get in my head. I didn't go to the gym and be like, I'm going to get super skinny or be silly about it. Like, I just went as me, and it was awesome.
That's awesome. So that's obviously such a big deal in life. And a lot of people cannot relate to doing something like that. But what was family reaction, friend reaction, partner reaction?
For sure. So you're not supposed to tell anyone. But I, of course, told mom and dad because they were
course.
like, why are you going to Barbados? And if I went missing, my mom would probably call the police thinking I died. So I told mom, dad, and obviously my partner, he was arranging the COVID tests and driving me across Montana to get in. We're in Billings trying to find places. Can't really get COVID tests there. I don't think they believe in it. So it was a very hard thing to do. And then I got back here and I didn't have clothes to go. Like, you kind of want to be like cool and like show up the most. So I was just like pulling random stuff. And yeah, I was calling everyone, telling them because I was just so excited.
I would have been too. That's like such a massive deal.
I was like, you can't tell anyone.
And now, do you think your friends treated you differently? No?
They definitely kept me in line. I didn't get a big head or anything, but
Okay.
I just was so excited. And I think I got really insecure right before set because you get in your head, you're kind of like, oh shit, I'm shooting Sports Illustrated tomorrow. And like, it's a big crew and you're like with all these amazing girls and all these things. And I think right before I went out, I was like, I don't belong here. Then when I got to set, hair, makeup done, and you're wearing not much of a bikini, I was like, okay, we got no choice now. And rolled. It was awesome.
I love that
That's
self-talk
awesome.
though, that like you belong here, you've got
like,
this.
you've got this.
Fuck yeah, you need to do
Like,
that.
show that person that didn't want you to go to that casting, and I fucking got to do it twice. It was
That's
dope.
awesome.
Yeah.
So there's been so many successful, like powerful women who've done this.
Absolutely.
And they say it's one of the most empowering experiences of their life.
It was.
Did you feel that?
I agree. And going in the second time, I was actually really sick at that time. And I don't think they knew. My Crohn's had flared up, something shocking. So I was put on steroids for a while. So I was just like a balloon and I showed up to set and it didn't make me uncomfortable at all. Like I was just like, let's do this. Like Ben Watts, who Have you worked with Ben Watts?
God, that
Australian
sounds-
photographer.
Yeah, that sounds
You would have.
familiar.
He's probably one of my favorite photographers to work with. And he's just great, like great energy, great human to work with. Love the glam team. Like there's no way you can't feel bad doing this. Like it's the energy alone from the Sports Illustrated. Like there's a camera in your face every minute. Like they're capturing everything from when you wake up to the end of day. So you're on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I could imagine because I think colitis and Crohn's are very similar, but even when something exciting happens, you kind of get nervous, and that's the worst
set
thing.
it off.
So I couldn't imagine like being so amped up, and you're like, oh,
And then I had to fly as well. So
Oh my God, it's horrible.
What were some of the behind the scenes moments like?
I was fine. I thank God I was healthy that day. Like there was nothing bad that happened that way, but just generally like you're just trying to hydrate because it is so hot. Like you're running up and down the beach and you're giving it the most energy. You're treating it, well, it is Sports Illustrated. You're treating it like it's the biggest thing of your career, which it was.
Yeah.
So you're kind of just like on and you're almost dizzy because you're just like wanting to be your best and give it the most. So
That's cool. Back to you, babe.
Finish your section. I love it. All right, we're gonna dive into the heart of today's conversation, which is always based around like dating and relationships, in particular, kind of like dating advice for people. I think it's really helpful, especially as someone as beautiful as you. And you just were saying that you've gone through perhaps like quite toxic, unhelpful relationships, and now you're in a relationship that's super grounded and really beautiful. So I want to take it a little bit back before you met your now current partner. Did you ever use dating apps? Were you on
I
them?
did. Yes.
Which ones and what did you like/dislike about them?
Just Raya, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's really your competitor.
No,
Everybody's our
it-
competitor, but also our friends.
Got
Yeah,
it.
we
Oh, I
empower
like
them.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta.
So my mate signed me up. So I got out of this awful relationship and my mate's like, you need to date. And I was like, okay. So they did my profile. I was like, but don't make it like, I don't want people to think they're expecting some model to show up.
Some
So-
glamorous model.
yeah, I was like, that's not me. So it was fun. Ish. I was like, there's a few tales there, but
That might be your expression. Well, I was about to say, it's like, I feel like when I was on the dating apps, because I was on Raya, I was on Hinge.
Okay.
And I like randomly once in a while I'd be on Bumble, but then I delete it because I got the shits with it. But I feel like there was like this preconceived notion about a model, so I have no doubt that to tell your friends like don't make it look like I'm so glamorous, because then there's almost this expectation of the type of person
And
that
there
you're going to
was.
be,
Yeah.
and then you feel like the letdown, or they're expecting of you throughout all of the dates.
100%.
What were those?
I went on a few dates and I feel like it became a game to me because I was like, oh, I really want to match with that person. Like, let's just see. Like, it wasn't even about that they were like famous or anything or any of those things. It was just like a game because I was bored. It was also during COVID. And I showed up and this guy's like, whoa. And I could tell he was just like, she's big. Do you know what I mean? Like,
He thought
I'm
that of
6'1".
you?
Yeah. And I don't mean by height, I mean by like my size. And I was like, yeah, you're expecting some, no offense, skinny little model to walk in. And
No offense taken.
that's not me. And so I just could tell that that's what that app was about. Like, I think I may have been one of the biggest people on there, to be honest. Because I'm like looking at my friends and trying to see what the guys are looking at too. And yeah, I was like, I didn't put anything of my work on there because I was like, I am not that 24/7. I don't live in the glam chair 24/7. And I'm also a size 14. So don't expect anything else.
So you didn't put that you were a model on your profile?
No.
That's interesting because you are right. Hannah had that she was a model on there, and I don't know. I feel like there's like an ego in guys.
I did and I changed it. I'll take
You
that
changed it back,
I did
okay.
and I changed it.
Yeah. Well, I just feel
Because
like,
you had those experiences.
Yeah,
where
because
you're
I was like,
this-
oh, they're expecting something I'm not.
yeah, and I
I
think,
am, but I'm not.
yeah, I'm that sometimes, but most of the time I'm this.
Yeah.
But but I think to your point, there's like an ego side of a guy where he's like, I'm only gonna go on the date because she's a model. And I can say that I went on a date with a model. I did look at Hannah's profile and I was like, oh, okay, not only is she a model, but she's really beautiful, and I'm really excited to get to know her.
I
And
also had like goofy photos on there. Too.
yeah, but also you're from Australia, which superseded the model part. So I was like,
Oh, there you go.
yeah, like talking
for
to an
me.
Australian, I was like, oh, I'm just excited to go meet an Australian.
Yeah.
But yeah, once I met her, like the model thing kind of just went away. But leading to that, I was like, oh wow, this is pretty cool to go.
Did you meet on an app?
We
Yeah.
did.
Oh, okay.
We actually met on Hinge, but we met in. So Joe had kind of started developing the app, in the way that it functions. And I don't know if you know too much about how the app functions. And Joe will tell you in a second. But we met in the exact way that the app works, like an accidental proof of concept before it was basically like super live,
brilliant.
which was wild. And it was also just a really strong confirmation, not only of our relationship, but then also of the app's potential.
Absolutely.
Do you want to explain to Georgina?
No, I want to hear Georgina's story about why she went from model to not model.
Oh, okay.
Because they were expecting a Hannah to show up and I was showing up. Like, it really came down to a size thing.
That's it.
As sad as that sounds.
Expecting
don't you-
a quintessential what people view as like a model versus like the beautiful diversity of which models are now.
See, but that's the problem with not only dating apps, but like modern day dating is like there's like an expectation of a checklist, right? So it's like a model who looks like this, and you're a model, which is amazing, right? So the fact that a skinny person like Hannah didn't show up, who cares? Like they're still on a date with a beautiful model, and I think before dating apps, you kind of all that went away where it would just be having a conversation with you, right? So, oh wow, you're tall. Oh wow, you are beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation. Oh wow, you're so amazing. You're so nice. This worked out anyway, even though you know on a platform you're expecting a certain thing, and it's not just models. It's people filter their photos who aren't models. People lie about their jobs. People lie about what they've done, and then once you get on a physical date with them, you unravel all that, and you're like, man, I'm not upset that you're not these things. I'm upset that you just weren't honest
100%.
and started from like a level playing field.
Well, I'm upset that you built that person up into something that they weren't, you know what I mean? Like you have this preconceived notion of people when you sit there and talk to people on the app. So like you see these pictures and or you see a title of like model as an example, and you have like kind of like frustrated yourself that you've built all those expectations up and they don't meet those expectations.
That's why I think there needs to be, and you should do this with your app, classes for people. Like people all do selfies. That doesn't show, like I could look size 0 from here up if I really wanted to stick out a collarbone.
The angles, mate? Yeah.
The angles and all of these things. Like I feel people don't know how to sell themselves. Like they don't know how to take photos of themselves. They don't know, like I know a photographer here and she does dating app photos and it's genius. And she'll be like, they're so weird and nerdy and all these, I'm like, oh God, I want to come one day to see. But I think these people need this. Like they need to be told how to sit, and so they are selling themselves. I think people also lie because they are up against models or they are up against like these personalities or whatever these people are. And I think as a man looking for a beautiful woman, I think that also makes you scared to be like, I'm not 6'5". I am not driving whatever cars are called, these Teslas or whatever. Like, I just think all of those things, like you are hiding behind a screen.
Oh, I 100% agree. And I could even say for myself, like I was really insecure when I used dating apps because to your point, I was trying to get somebody like that competitively, but also with a dating app, you have access to thousands of people. Absolutely. In the real world, if you meet someone like you guys, it's like, wow, this is great. Like I'm meeting you live. Here's my opportunity. Not I'm expecting it. And I'm going to filter through everybody until I get to it.
Or also there's this person here, but what happens if I swipe a couple more times and there's a better person?
Yeah, what else is there?
Exactly. This like comparison culture. Yeah, or the grass is greener effect that we like to call it. And it's just like, it's so insidious. It's actually, Joe made this really, what you said about like teaching people how to use dating apps in every facet. Joe has this analogy, which I find really funny. We said it on a couple of podcasts ago, where he's like, imagine introducing sex to 7 billion people, right? With no guidelines, no rules, no nothing. Yeah. It would be absolute mayhem.
Chaos.
And that's basically the dating app landscape of today. We've learned a little bit more about it now because I think we, as a society and as a generation, we've understood like the comparison culture, the grass is greener effect. But it's still, there's no rules. There's no like, don't take shirtless selfies of yourself in the mirror and use that for every single photo on your profile.
Not every girl needs to be naked. Like, we get it, you have boobs, like whatever it is.
They're
like,
amazing, but like one photo maybe.
But I also want to take you home to my mom to meet, like if you're Hinge or whatever looks like that, like it's a little worrisome.
We try and do that at our events where we hire a photographer, and the photographer's there to get dating app photos for guys specifically because we don't know how to take photos.
Wow.
And then we'll repurpose that at the end of the event. But it's like, you know, instead of like a, what's it called? Like a Getty image where it's like, okay, here's like a perfect image. It's like, here's a nice little area where it's a real photo, and then you could use this photo. Absolutely. Because you don't have any good photos.
And it's like a genuine smile, or like you're having a giggle, or like you're doing something that really shows someone's personality and like the authentic side of them versus like this incredibly cute. Even though it's a professional photo, it's it's not a highly stylized or curated photo,
Sure.
which I think helps a lot of people. Like you said that one of the photos on my dating profile, the one that you loved the most was when I was just like cheesing real hard.
Yeah.
Because that's what people like to see. People connect with that more. Maybe perhaps not on like a conscious level, but definitely on a subconscious
But
level.
you're also super down to earth. Like, I haven't seen you in years and here we are chatting. But it's like, I just think people don't want to be authentic on apps. The Facetune is real. Like, I look at Instagram and, you know, all the AI stuff that's coming out, all that weirdness that I still don't understand. But I just think nobody's showing their real self. Like, if I get a blemish, I am retouching it. I don't care. And I'm not going to tell you. Just expect it to be gone. So I think it's even more highlighted because people are so insecure to go on dating apps.
We receive an onslaught of curated, perfected images every single day throughout social media, and that has totally bled through to the dating app world, where it's like, as you said, like it's the competition level of like, oh my God, well, I have to present the most perfected version of myself. But what people don't realize is that's not you. And then it creates this really weird cycle of people being let down, or that expectation being let down. And then you've been let down by that letdown. And it's just like a really horrible cycle. And no wonder so many people are disillusioned by not only dating apps, but like social media or media in general nowadays.
It was scary how brainwashed we are too, because when I met you, and thankfully I like was unbrainwashed where I acted appropriately and we're here now.
Yeah.
But I even pushed back on her because we had a great chemistry and we were going to get really serious.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, if I can get Hannah, I could probably get like a celebrity. And there was this little like brainwash part of me where it's like, who the hell am I to think like, why am I comparing this a perfect person to me to just some random idea?
Because you dated somebody so amazing that has showed you all your good parts of you and she's made you a king. And then you think you can go find other queens and it does not work, because I've witnessed it over and over again for myself and my friends.
Wow,
But that's really when you have a good, strong woman like Hannah and who I believe she is, that's what happens. And I see it happen to all these men. I'm like, you guys are losing. No offense, you're going to lose a but
You were a loser in that
you will
moment.
lose out. Like if you followed that, where would you be today? Like it would probably be really sad.
Which is why I'm grateful every day now, where I'm like, thankfully I smartened up because I'll never get somebody who treats me like this or who looks like this. But yeah, and I think we're just brainwashed with all this stuff.
Dude, that was really well said.
Yeah, that was
I'm gonna
perfect.
Clip it right there because that's a
Wait,
fucking great
dude,
clip.
are you going to ask a meet cute or are we going to miss that? Because I want to know.
I just have a couple more general dating questions and then we get into the meet cute.
Okay,
Don't you
cool.
worry, darling.
Sorry, I talk a lot.
No,
No,
this is amazing.
It's better to talk a lot. than a lot.
Good. Okay, good.
I want to talk a little bit
I haven't even
about...
had the first.
Especially
Sorry,
you
Hannah.
barely had a sip, don't. Especially you're kind of like the confidence queen. Like on social media, you are so outwardly confident. I think it's such a beautiful thing. And I kind of want to relate that to dating. So like, do you have any strategies for our viewers out there who want to overcome nerves or perhaps like an awkward sense before a first date?
I think put on your best outfit. Like if you are going to go meet someone for the first time, feel your best, look your best. I grew up doing equestrian and my dad always said, you need to dress the part to be the part. And I think you need to dress the part to be the part. If you're going to want to go home and marry this guy, don't show up looking like a hooker. Like put in a little bit of effort, like put the tits away. Like I think it's really about showing up as your best self and in all senses. Like if that means you have a quick vodka at home before you go, that's okay. But it's really about just showing up as you, because that's who they're going to end up knowing.
Dude.
Not this like fake ass, like whatever. Like they're going to see you at your worst. And if they can't, they're not for you.
Couldn't have said it better myself,
Man, she's
truly
got
and utterly.
some good clips here.
Mate, that's why I told Gia to come on, because she's a fucking wealth of knowledge. All right, before we get into the meet cute, I want to ask something, because our entire app is basically based off the ideal that a first date should be drinks, right? It's too much pressure with a dinner immediately. If you get the drinks and you fucking vibing so hard, then go off for dinner. It's a great time.
It's our opinion.
That's our
No, that's a great opinion because that's how I date.
I was about to say, so how did you kind of, when you were in your dating days, did you prefer just going for a drink or were you leaning towards a full-blown dinner?
No, I always love to do a drink. I don't like to do coffee because that's daytime. Don't want to see you in the daytime because if I need to run away, it's better that it's dark out. So I think drinks is always a great thing. And it's also easy. Like if they're sober or anything else, it's also okay. Do you know what I mean? Whereas it's not awkward or you have dietary requirements or whatever and you're trying to order a dish and you're like, oh, shit, I sound crazy already being like, can't eat this, can't eat. I can eat everything. But it just makes it harder. And then you're like, how do I hold my cutlery? And there's so many more things to go. I did do etiquette school, but there's so many more things that'll go through your mind where you're trying to eat and have a conversation if you want to leave. Like, I think drinks is great. And you're like, great drink. Okay, see you never. Like, you kind of get an option. I think it's way better.
See you never.
Like, I
Love that. No,
it's a safe option. And I think it's easy to be like, hey, mom, or whoever, maybe not your mom. Like, hey, Hannah, I'm going for a drink. I'll probably be an hour.
Yeah.
That's it.
We're of the same mindset. We just think there's not only the safety element is really great and it's a quick out if you're really not enjoying that day, but it opens up the door of like, if you are enjoying that day, then fucking continue to drink. Absolutely. Go and have dinner if that's an amazing thing. But that first meeting, when you're first meeting somebody, it should not be pressure filled. It should not be anxiety filled. You should not be sitting there thinking how I'm going to hold my cutlery. It should be like, I'm interested in getting to know this person if we vibe with each other and then go on from there.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, do you want to ask your favorite question?
Meet cute. How did you meet your partner?
I met him, so I was in a really awful relationship, and one of my best mates, Jamie, said, you need some good guy friends. I'd broken up with this guy who's cheating on me. He's also a violent little man, and they were like, you need some good males. Like, you're just around shitty people. And I was like, okay, cool. Met him one night, and then my partner and I had dinner a few times. He had a girlfriend, and I was also on Raya trying to date everyone within a week.
Wait, so you reached out to him just to be friends because your friends said you needed better guy friends,
and he's just a really great.
But how did you know him?
Through my friend.
Through mutual
Just
friends.
a mutual
Through
friend.
mutual friend.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
The old school way.
Wow, this is awesome.
The best way. So you went out for dinner.
So basically, we went out for dinner. He left to Montana. I was on all the dating app, one dating app, trying to date everyone. And then he went back to Montana. He had a partner at the time. And there was nothing. Like, we were just mates. And then I was going through a court case during COVID. My parents couldn't get here and all those things. He came back to New York to help me for my court case. And I was like, you're just a great guy. Like, I've not, other than my Australian mates, I haven't found a lot of good men except for you now. But it was difficult. And COVID, I was alone. And then the riots hit New York and my apartment building actually got broken into. And I was like, fuck this, I'm out. Packed my bags, packed my dog up. And I said, I'm going to the Hamptons. I got a house. You're welcome to join if you want to join. No, like, nothing. Like, we weren't seeing each other. Like, it was kind of weird for me to ask him. But anyway, I needed somebody to drive me. So he drove
As
me.
Australians do.
Yes.
And then still driving the wrong side of the road here.
Yep.
So we went out there and for a week we stayed and it was weird. Like, we were sleeping in the same bed like this.
But what about his
Did
girlfriend?
he still have a girlfriend?
No, he'd gone.
Oh, okay, I was about to say.
Okay.
So she was staying in San Fran and it didn't work out.
Okay.
But then he came back and he was dating people and I was dating people. And then we did this Hamptons thing randomly and my best friend was out there and she was like, something's going on and you guys just need to like
Bang it out.
like, figure it out. It was like killing everyone that was around us.
Did you feel any sexual tension or was there any attraction?
No, I was like, what's wrong with me? The whole time I was like, what's wrong with me? He won't go near me. But he's such a respectful human and I'm not used to
But you wanted him to.
100%.
Oh.
But I also
And he probably
was,
wanted to too, but to your point, like, he's so respectful and he didn't want to like cross any boundaries.
and I was going through all that other shit too. So he just knew I was like a broken bird and was just like, she's a bit fucked up. Maybe I'll take my time with this one. And he did the most incredible thing, which kind of like sealed the deal. Do you know who CJ Hendry is? Australian artist, Brisbane girl.
Yeah, kind of sounds familiar.
So she drops art and it's like a sneaker drop. Like, you need to be on that thing. And I'm not good. I'm not nerdy. He's very nerdy and very good at like making those things work. And I was screaming at my mom and sister to like get these artworks and he'd gotten them secretly in the other bedroom. And that was my first Christmas gift.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
So
that's
he's
so
just the most
thoughtful.
thoughtful, incredible human. Like, There must be something wrong with him, but we're still waiting to find out
wait.
what that is.
Well, that other shoe to
Wait,
drop.
wait. How did you guys break the tension? Like, what was the first moment?
So
where it was
basically,
like,
we went back to my good mate's friend that was out in the Hamptons, got absolutely hammered, should not have been driving back, and then we fell in love.
wow.
Oh my God, that's so.
And we've been together ever since.
How long has it been?
4 years this Thanksgiving.
Gee, I mean, because I've been following your story on social media, even though we'd be like, we're literally on opposite coasts. I always feel like
I know
people
what you're up to.
Yeah, exactly, right? I know what you're up to. And I saw the things that you're kind of going through in the past, a snippet of it, and then just the joy that was kind of like radiating from you when you talked about him and when he was posted and when he went back to Australia to meet your family.
Absolutely.
It was so beautiful to see because it's something that you truly deserve. So I want to know, what do you think the biggest thing about yourself that you've learned within the relationship with him?
Trust yourself. I always knew in all my other relationships, I was never like trusting what I knew. And I think with him, I trust him more than anybody I've ever been with. And I think that's something that is rare these days, is to have a partner that you can 100% trust. And I think it's not only the trust in him, it's like his values and like who he is as a person. And he brings the best out of me. I'm an asshole. Like I'm a
You're not an asshole in this.
Like I know I'm a hard person to date, and I'm like I've been told everything. Like I'm hard to love, all those things. But I know I am a good person, and I deserve love, as does everybody else. And I think he showed me that. Like when we first got together, I was like, "Why are you being nice? What are you doing wrong?" Like I was.
You guys are so similar. It's scary.
Exact same.
I was like, "What are you doing? Like, are you cheating on me because you're being so nice? Like, what is wrong with you?" And he's like, "You're weird.
I just
like,
love you. Like,
yeah." He's like, "No."
It's so funny. Like Hannah is from when I first met her to now, she's like a completely different person in the best way possible. But there'll be times
can
where
see it.
there's like a string of hair on my beard or something, right? And she'll look at me and she'll be like, "Where'd that come from?" I'm like, "I don't know. Like life."
No,
So-
but it's the same thing of like when you're in a relationship that, and I was in multiple relationships before meeting Joe, that I was told the same thing. You're hard to love. You're too much. You're this, you're that. And you're in super toxic situations that when you get into a really healthy one, it's terrifying. And it's also so foreign that you suspect everything. Like you said just before, even as a joke, you're just like, I'm waiting to see what the fuck's wrong with him.
Yeah.
Still waiting to see what the fuck's wrong with you. You know what I mean? I'm waiting for that other shoe to drop.
And I remember seeing you years ago, and I just remembered in the Lower East Side, and I saw you, and I was like, "She's not well."
Oh no, that's when I was with one of my ex-boyfriends, and we were like, when you talk about like drug and alcohol fueled benders, like that was crazy, like absolutely crazy. I'm so proud of
That was
myself.
the last time I saw her.
When I first started dating with her, and you can tell me if this is too much information.
Sorry, it's Gia.
But she was a big drinker, but like a big drinker. And I was like, hey, like not to judge you, but like, are you okay? Like, I don't,
That's not normal.
I don't really do this kind of
Australian,
stuff.
but yeah, I get
And,
where you're going.
you know, there was that resistance at first. And then over time, she was just like, yeah, I just have a lot going on. And like, I've never just had a chance to like relax and like let go. And that eventually
to feel
came out.
happy and feel safe and to be in a situation, I'm sure that you feel the same thing with your partner. It's like, you don't need to cover things up so much. You don't need to, there's not like this trauma response or this coping mechanism. You search to find healthier ones, and especially when you're in a safe, healthy relationship, it allows you that space to be able to do so.
Now you don't even want me near you. She used to be so on top of me, and now in bed, I'll like go hug her and she's just get
Like,
away.
we're
Just,
married.
like, go to
Yeah,
sleep.
now you're married.
Like,
It's
we're
all
married.
downhill.
We
Yeah.
work together. We live together. We literally spend like every waking second together. And you come up and you're like, put your hairy face all over me. I'm like, get away. I love
he
you,
a
but
New
get away.
Yorker?
He's a Wyoming boy.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Country
He grew up
boy.
on a bison ranch, so he's a tough man.
But also kind of adorable the fact that you grew up on a farm and like you grew up around horses and that there's that similarity
well
there.
together.
I can't wait to meet him. We're going to have to go on a double date. So.
Absolutely.
All right, darling, are you ready for the game? Because I'm
Yeah,
ready
it's
for
my
the game.
favorite game. So it's called How Well Do You Know Yourself? And Hannah abbreviates it HYWDKYK.
I don't know
So
why
the
you
first
say
time
that every time.
the first time that I had to read this, I went, "What's hootikies?" And she was like, "What?" So it's How Well Do You Know Yourself? My favorite game. So we dig the depths of the history of Georgina Burke,
Let's
and
do
we
it.
see if you could.
Am I going to
Get these
cry? I
questions
feel like
right.
this
No,
is
it's all
therapy.
joy.
Okay,
It's
good.
Yeah, so this is a softball to get you warmed up.
Okay.
Oh, this is such a softball.
Hey, listen, I wanted to get it warmed up.
Where did you make your SI Swimsuit brand debut? Where?
Barbados.
Yes.
Ding, ding,
Wow.
ding. One on your belt.
No one's ever gotten them all right.
Okay.
In a collab post for IMG Originals in April of 2023, I want you to finish this sentence. Finding out I was going to be an SI was a huge deal. I didn't get to see that growing up in magazines. I was only in ...
I was only in. I don't know what this is.
You can say, I don't know.
I don't know.
2016, that Ashley Graham was put on the front cover. It was a huge deal to see a woman of her size and caliber being put on a magazine cover. It's the moment that we know we're making huge strides and gaining traction.
Got it.
That's what you said.
That's what you said.
Okay, good. Remember that.
In a video where you were getting ready for the SI red carpet in May of 2023, you used these 3 words to describe what being a Ralph Lauren woman is.
No, that didn't make any sense. You read that wrong.
What a Ralph Lauren woman
Can I
is.
just give them to me?
This is what happens when you give me the hootie keys.
Hootie.
Hootie keys.
Oh, now she's going to be all perfect
so
about it.
In a video, yes. Actually, you were right. My apologies. In a video when you were getting ready for the SI red carpet in May of 2023, you were wearing Ralph Lauren. It was for a Ralph Lauren ad. So you used 3 words to describe yourself being a Ralph Lauren woman. What were those 3 words?
I want to say powerful, strong. Ooh. Voluptuous? No, I don't know.
Standing tall.
Oh,
should have known that one, Gia.
Yeah, I should have known that. That's
right.
so long ago. I don't remember what I did last week.
May 2023. All right, so what did MJ Day say to you on set when you first walked in to see the swimsuits?
You did so much research. Shit. She's like, hi.
If there's any swim you don't feel comfortable in, you don't wear it.
That was such a huge thing. For somebody that literally has all the control in the world of what you should be wearing, I didn't feel comfortable in a few. And she's like, okay, we don't wear them. Like
So
getting
beautiful.
the option to say no was huge.
My God, especially for such a large establishment.
Absolutely.
Like you would think that it would be so curated and so tailored. But again, I think it just speaks volumes for the SI Swim community and the magazine itself and the people who run it, of the fact that they want those women to feel the most empowered and the most comfortable with what they're in.
Yeah.
So beautiful. All right, we got
I'm failing all of these.
You're not failing at all.
No, but
Like
it's
I said-
good though, because it means Hannah
Good
did a
reminders.
job.
I love it.
It means that I did a really good job.
You killed it.
Okay, so who were the 2 people you praised in an Instagram caption in April of 2021 that you said, and I quote, "I've always dreamed of being in ... chair. And I've also had my hair made up by the legend ...
Hung Van Gogh and Sergio Amant.
She gets it.
That's good. You do deliver it way better than me. You deliver it. I read it.
There you go. In an interview with The Morning Show in Australia in 2019, Larry asked you what your biggest achievement in New York had been. What was your answer?
Sports Illustrated.
No.
Ralph Lauren.
No.
Oh, shit.
My biggest achievement is probably staying here for 9 years. New York
Oh,
is not
yeah.
an easy city.
He was giving me so much shit for sounding American, the
Of
whole thing.
course. All right, last one. In an Instagram post in October of 2015, the caption said, "Sorry I wore heels. What celeb were you standing next to?"
Rebel Wilson.
Yes! I got it.
I was
Wow, that was good.
Aussie
You
short.
got
yes.
it. All right, we're going to finish this with a little bit of rapid fire. All right,
Go
you
through
ready?
the whole thing.
Short, quick hits.
Remy's got us.
All right, so what's the most important quality in a partner?
Trust.
Love that. What's your favorite thing to do with your partner?
Walk the dog. Boring, but true.
What's your favorite love story? Real or fictional?
Real.
No, but like
Hours.
yours. Who's your fashion icon?
You right now. I would say, oh shit. Fashion icon? Oh, I don't know. Everyone's so messy at the moment. No one.
No one and everyone all at the same
Yes.
time. Runway or photo shoot?
Photo shoot.
What is your must-have beauty product?
Skin food.
Who's your favorite designer to work with?
Ralph Lauren.
Love it. And what's your favorite fashion trend right now?
I think being minimalistic. Like I'm wearing a suit. Like I love that's come back again.
Me too. Gia, this hour has gone by so quickly. And I'm so happy that after all of these years, especially since the last time you saw me, I was traipsing around the east side. Absolutely.
Sorry.
Off my face. No, it's good. The people need to know.
Okay, good.
But I cannot thank you enough for taking the time out of your incredibly busy schedule to be with us today. And I cannot wait for a double date sometime very time soon.
Looking forward to it.
But can you let our listeners know where to find you?
On my Instagram, which is Miss Geo Burke.
Amazing.
And can you share what the project is coming up, or is it Silent. Okay, silent. We'll see. And
We will
You'll
see.
see.
The world will see
Coming
soon.
up.
yeah.
If you follow her Instagram.
And appreciate you all for listening. Subscribe, listen to one of our past episodes. Happy dating. We will see you later.
Thank you.